So Zen Dog is essentially about a guy his name is Mud, and he's trapped in this kind of mundane routine, this daily monotony that we all kind of experience. He's trying to start up this virtual reality company called Virtual Tranquility, but it's only him, and it's just not working out. And Mud has been having these like reoccurring nightmares that have been going on, and he doesn't know why. He can't shake them. They deal with death and suicide and whatnot. So Dwayne is kind of like this weird, subtle spiritual guru, and he turns him on to this idea of lucid dreaming. And he introduces him to this dream tonic. It's essentially a tea that Mud drinks. And the first time he does it, he's propelled into this whole other reality where he's this completely different person. I wrote the script back in 2012, and as I did my own road trip to write it. I would drive in the morning and then think of ideas, then pull off to a random motel and then spend the rest of the time writing, and then the next morning repeat it. And so I did this crazy leg, and after I had the first draft, it was crap. I mean, it needed work and whatnot, but I was driving back to LA, my home, and a philosopher, it wasn't Watts, it was somebody else, I forget who, popped on my car stereo on the iPod. And I was looking at the landscape as I was coming back in, and I was thinking about how road films traditionally use music as a device to get the character from point A to point B. And I was thinking, what if this character was listening to a philosopher of some type that could kind of, be the glue in the story? And I thought of Watts because I was a big fan of Alan Watts since I was a kid, and I always liked his voice. And I kind of did this thing. I just thought right away that I couldn't get him. I was like, there's no way I can get Alan Watts. There's no way. He died, and I don't know how to do it. And I was just like self-doubting myself in the beginning. And I talked to a producer friend, and he's like, just find who owns the rights and just go and contact and figure it out. So that night, I went onto alanwatts.org and found out that his son was the guy that owned all the audio rights and ran the website. And I emailed him the premise, and within 45 minutes, he wrote me back. And he's like, he wrote me back. He's like, there's some cosmic thing going on. I was working on a piece of audio of my dad right now talking about suicide, and your email came in. So there's something happening. And Watts was very much into synchronicity and coincidences. So his son reached out to me right away, and we talked the next day, and he came on board and just basically gave us the rights to the audio works and became an executive producer on the film. I had the initial spark, the idea, and then we watched it develop and change. And I had an organic process while making it where I told the crew, hey, if you guys, while we're on the road, if you have an idea or if you feel something, like, don't hesitate to tell me, because I know some directors like to insulate themselves from those kinds of things, but I like directing. My style is kind of like keeping things open-ended. We created that open atmosphere, and what ended up happening is like my crew and cast were just completely, totally 150% like in love with this film. So by giving them that doorway, they were able to bring a piece of themselves in this film and didn't really feel like a job or feel like they were slaving away at something. It was as much as their film as it was mine. And it's so ironic, and not ironic, it just feels very appropriate that we would go from San Francisco to New York and then jump across the ocean and play in London. It's incredible. It's just been like a dream come true. And the festival staff have been amazing, and Elliot has been such a great supporter of the film. And yeah, it's just been a really incredible experience to be able to show it. We showed it last Sunday, and then we have one more screening on Saturday. But that initial premiere screening, I'm nervous, I'm scared, because I know it's good, and other people that around us, like that we've sent it to, have been responding really well to it. But this is an audience of strangers, and British locals that are there to see a movie, and everyone stayed in the film, and we packed seats and got applauded. We had a little standing ovation, and it was this crazy, thrust of energy from them. And having people come up to me afterwards and talk about how much they connected with the film and they loved it. It was very rewarding. And everyone that's been in the crew is so happy and excited. And we had a couple of financiers that helped with post, and they were there as well. I'm just super proud to see them, just knowing it was working. So yeah, it's been a trip.